Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar for our latest release, which is 2026-04 for our TrustInSoft Analyzer. We'll get started really soon, but before we do that, just a few housekeeping items. First of all participants will be muted during the seminar, during the webinar. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat. And we will start with an interview about our new features between me and my colleague, and then at the end, we'll follow with a Q&A session. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end. Hi, my name is Morgan. I am a solutions engineer here in the NA region. And then also with me today is Roland, if you want to present yourself.
Hello, my name is Roland Dudemain. I'm solutions engineering for Europe, and I'm pleased to be here as well.
So just a quick introduction about TrustInSoft if you're not quite familiar with us. We are a French company working with critical software all around the world for more than a decade. We utilize formal methods, more specifically abstract interpretation, in order to find runtime errors in C, C++, and Rust. And most often we find those difficult bugs to find that still remain in production. So to get on with our newest release, I'm going to just ask a few questions. First of all, AI is all the hype these days, but TrustInSoft does formal methods. Isn't that in conflict?
Right. So we've always been doing formal methods at the beginning, and the point about formal methods, and I will share a slide here to make it more concrete for everyone, is the fact that formal methods are mathematically grounded. They provide guarantees, and in fact, it's one of the interesting points about our tool is that it will help you to find runtime errors on your code. And when the tool says that you do not have those runtime errors anymore, and you've tested sufficiently your code, then you have a guarantee of this absence of formal methods, of the absence of runtime errors, sorry. The issue is that you have to obviously spend some effort to set up the analysis, to configure the analysis correctly, and to interpret the result. And that's where AI is actually a great accelerator, where AI on the other hand, is very good for understanding a large context and making sure and automating a lot of the work. So here, and that's why we have that yin and yang, is that AI can actually be the assistant to the human to set up the analysis, to set up drivers, on test drivers, verification drivers, analysis drivers on the entry point, also stubs for everything that your code being verified will call, and even try to understand the issues that this analyzer will have found. But it's important to have this dynamic of the AI that is not deterministic, not always reproducible, but still a great assistant, a great colleague, help set up and nail down things to prepare and to look at results of something that is reliable and running through TrustInSoft Analyzer. So that's that combination that makes it really, really relevant here. So actually, let me show that. If I switch to my tool here, let me show that. I can see show here. So I have the TrustInSoft Project Manager already open on some open source library called JSON-C. The project is already set up, but I have zero analysis. So what I'm going to do is, and that's a new thing in the latest release, I'm going to generate an analysis using AI. And here, I'll have the possibility to choose the AI model. We're very neutral in this particular case. You can see Claude, GPT, OpenRouter. And if you're using a local AI from your side, then you can use Olama as well to point to your own framework. And I'm going to use Claude Sonnet here. If I select a function as an entry point, then I can select any function or even list of functions. I can give some additional hints. So the prompt is already prepared for you, but you can give additional guidance. So for example, I want to print comments in Chinese because I have my Chinese colleague who want to renew that. Even though neither Morgan or myself can read Chinese, that may be interesting for people. Then what the tool does is it will prepare everything, then send it to the LLM. We can see here that it's indeed sending it to Claude Sonnet. And then while it's going on, so one of the specific things that we insist on is that the AI is just an assistant. For example, here it's possible for the user to look at the prompt, even copy the prompt and use that from the command line. So everything that I'm showing here, you can also drive from the command line. And so the prompt is visible to the user. The complete prompt is visible to the analyst, and so that it can be reviewed and understood and even reused if you want to. What's important is, again, human has control. Now that the driver is generated, we can look at the code that was generated here and observe that, well, indeed, there seems to be Chinese comments, and the code is calling the function we wanted to verify here, which is that bsearch function. Once the analysis is done, we can see that it's AI generated. That's also important. Again, we tag it here. The analysis will be run, and then at the end, I can generate. So it's finding some alarms. We can look at what it does, but beyond that, beyond figuring out how to see if there are real issues or not, because that was a first analysis, I can generate a report. And if I show that report that was generated here, I can see in the analysis that it was AI generated. So on each part of the tool, it's important that the AI is here as an assistant, but the human is able to review, understand, and we keep the track that it was done by AI. Right?
Perfect, thank you. I know we've been advertising Rust support for quite a while now. Have we made any improvements since the last release?
Yeah, we have. So we've extended the language support in general. And even again, in the TrustInSoft project manager, it's been moving on. So here, if I create a new project on a little demo that we've been working on, I can select something. So here, what we do is it's completely integrated. I can select cargo to be able to automate the creation of the project. One of the things with with Rust is that you usually have two ways to build Rust code. You can try to do it manually, but it's a horrible situation. Most people will just use cargo for it. We have a number of customers using Bazel as well, and Bazel can be used from the command line. This cargo is actually integrated both from the command line and in the graphical interface. What's interesting here in this example is we have both Rust code and C code together. So here we have some options. And so as much as you can, so here you can see that it already verified the C code, and there's a few functions that have been found in the C source. And it's also verifying the Rust code here. The Rust code always, because of the way Rust works, when you build Rust code, it always will reconsider the entirety of the source that you have verified. And here it's the same. When you create the analysis, it will consider the entire source code there. And so that's why you can't deselect them. But now that it's been verified, we can create a project. And so one of the other new elements in this 2026.04 release is the possibility in the dashboard here to have suggested entry points. So one of the difficulties we get from customers has always been, okay, but what's a good way to start the analysis? So here now there's a suggestion of all the functions that are basically public and at the end of the at one end of the graph. And so here I'm going to use demo all features because that's the obvious one, and I can create the analysis. And that will allow me, so you can see the encoded and the mangled name and the demangled, and the demangled name, the mangled name and the demangled name. And we will be able to create an analysis, and it will show this particular name here for the creation. That's redoing a parsing, which is taking a little bit of time because, again, it has to reconsider everything every time. But see here, I can create one. I can have as an input parameter any value, and then can create a particular analysis. It detected automatically that the C file was necessary for this analysis, and I can change the name and run it, and then create the analysis. The rest of the flow is similar as what I was showing before. So I can create the analysis, and then I can run it, I can investigate it, I can create a report like before. One of the elements that is also important is that we work with a few of our customers, several customers actually, on some projects. And what this shows is that we still find bugs. People may believe that Rust is completely safe, but actually there are still things remaining. The language goes in the right direction. It's less bugs, but it's still bugs, and it's still the same kind of bugs. It could be memory corruption, it could be unsigned calculation, it could be out of bounds slice accesses, and only half of them are here in this particular project. Half of them are in unsafe. So that means that the problem is not just in the unsafe area, but there are actually still remaining bugs in the safe area. And typically what happens is that it originates from unsanitized inputs. So the problem is not inherently the safe Rust. The problem is that the safe Rust is counting on unsafe values or unsanitized, unverified values, and that leads into those bad trouble. So in the end, Rust is a good language, is a great language, but TrustInSoft Analyzer still helps you to go and find all the remaining issues. That was true in C, that's still true in Rust.
Great, thank you for that. Another question I have is, we see that there are plenty of alarms within a project, but developers aren't going to be able to actually get to those alarms right away and actually fix the bugs. So is there anything that they can do in the meantime?
Yeah, so it's been there already in previous situations, but one of the things you can do is you can review the alarms. So the alarm review was already there beforehand. Oh yeah, just let me switch to say that one. That was the original one. So here I have some alarms, and let's say that I know that this particular one with an initialized values I can look at at everything here. It was already possible to use the root cause investigator to look at the specific values of your variables and then consider that the alarm was real or should be ignored. But you had to launch the RCI, the root cause investigator, the debugger. Now it's becoming possible to do it from the configuration interface, so that you can run the analysis and then review them directly. So here I can mark it, for example, as confirmed. Then I can put a comment about the fact that there's something happening. I can put tags so that you can have categories because this one is for Morgan, for example, and then I can put the link to my bug tool to be able to with the ticket number, so that I can point to the right one. And then I can create a review, and now the link is visible, and I can go there, and everything is going to be stored in the report and visible in the report as well. So yeah, and then after that, what you do with the actual alarms, we always push towards a zero alarm situation. If they are ignored, then that typically means they are considered false alarms for now, but someone needs to eliminate them. If they are confirmed alarms, then this corresponds to a particular bug that you are going to resolve in the future. And of course, you can't resolve everything on the same day by the same developer, but at least you can keep track of them. So actually, we've had customers use this mechanism to run that in their CI, so that all the known bugs that are not yet solved are visible, and that the CI can judge and refuse to merge some code if there are some unreviewed alarms, because these would be new, and new alarms should not be allowed as a process. And then, of course, every project sees that differently. So yeah, alarm reviews is there.
Yes. All right. Thank you. One last question from me. So the description of this webinar has a claim about reducing effort. Is this related to MCDC or is it something else?
Yeah, so it is kind of related to MCDC. So, I mean, going back to the beginning, the TrustInSoft, that's something you explained. The core of the tool, TrustInSoft Analyzer, was created with the mindset of being able to get a guarantee to find runtime errors, memory safety issues. But as it turns out, while you do that, this helps into many other activities in the general development. So it helps into replacing some security-oriented activities like doing fuzzing. It may reduce or even remove part of the static code analysis. So for example, since the analyzer will always verify that the variables are used initialized, you could remove or already justify all the occurrences of MISRA checkings that check that the variable is initialized, because it will be checked at runtime using TrustInSoft Analyzer. In the other direction, some of our customers actually run unit tests, either for coverage reasons or even for functional testing in some cases, or integration testing, and that's something you can do more towards the general functionality verification or towards the safety aspect of the game. And of course, depending on your use case, you're going to use more or less of those additional capabilities. Like code coverage is something that is usually done in all situations, because that's a way to confirm you have done a sufficient work. But then all those activities are things you can do with our tool, and that reduces the overall effort, because if you can use one tool and one activity to do all of that, or a majority of that, then that reduces the effort you have to spend with the other aspects.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Roland. Very interesting to see and reassuring to see that the tool is continuing to make improvements. So now we are going to switch to the Q&A session of this webinar, as mentioned at the beginning. If you have any question, please enter it in the Q&A section of this webinar. And then if we have time, we'll answer it live. We already have a few questions, so we're going to start with those. I'll read them off. So the first one, does the TrustInSoft Analyzer make AI reproducible for the stubs and the drivers?
That's a great question. Well, I mean, that's a complex question, because that's something that everyone would love to have, that the AI is an all-powerful colleague that does the work for you, and that does it always the same way. And actually, even real colleagues don't always do it the same way. So no, it doesn't. But the point is actually, maybe we can make the point a little bit different. The part that needs to be deterministic and reproducible is the analysis itself. So the AI, as I demonstrated, is actually a help for the human to set everything up and to understand the results of the analysis. Um, However, having the analysis being reproducible is quite important because once you have set up the AI, you have to set up the analysis. You're not going to recreate the analysis each time. That would be a waste of effort. So in fact, you can use the AI at the beginning to set up the analysis. You can use the AI also maybe to evolve the analysis. But the analysis itself is then done using formal methods, using a deterministic and reliable tool like ours, so that you always get the same input and always get the same output, even though you did use the AI around it to understand everything.
Perfect. Thanks for clearing that up. Another one here we have is your tool qualified for safety or cybersecurity?
So yes, the tool is qualified for ISO 26262. It's qualified for any ASIL level. And the scope is basically to be able to find runtime errors, as we already mentioned a few times now, and to produce the coverage information. That's why you can use it to do unit testing in a safety context and look at the coverage to confirm that it was done sufficiently. We're also working with aerospace customers. And for those, we have some using it in the TQL5 level with their own qualification, and we're happy to work with higher levels, even to provide a kit for TQL4, which is then a much more stringent standard for tool qualification.
Wonderful. So we've got another question on AI here. Is there a preferred AI? Can I use my own in-house model?
Yes. So as I was showing in the tool, we pre-integrate with some of them explicitly. But what's important is TrustInSoft is very agnostic and does not choose a particular AI over another. Even when you have access to the prompt is generic and does not vary based on the AI. So if you are working with an internet connected environment, you can use Cloud GPT or Open Router, which is giving you access to others. If you're in an environment which is much more controlled, and actually that's many of our customers as well, then you can either use a local self-hosted AI or a corporate provided AI by using the Ollama integration. And Ollama is really an open standard, but it's pretty widespread. So that basically then there's that configuration to be able to talk to whatever it is that your company is providing.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
So continue to put your questions in chat. We're not going to get to everyone today, but we will make sure to reach out to you if we don't get to it today. There's one last question I'll answer really quick, and then we'll have to close up. So the last question we'll end on is, you had mentioned CI/CD. Which CI/CD platforms do you provide? So I can go ahead and answer that really quick. We've got, so we do have examples for GitHub, GitLab, and Jenkins that we are sharing with our customers currently. And they've got that running. If you do have something different and you're working with us, we are more than happy to help you set that up.
Yeah, cool. That's an interesting one, indeed. All right.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for your questions. If you think of anything in the future, please reach out. And thank you for your attendance.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Morgan, for hosting that session. And indeed, feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.